Appreciate you coming today. So this is a good one. I've done it before. It's been a little while, so I thought I would do it again. We're running into understanding the true reason for doing an open house and the three P's that most realtors fail at. Put it online, post a sign out front, and pray that people show up to your open house. It's also what a lot of realtors do when they get a new listing. Put a sign out front, post it online, and pray that it sells. When that listing is supposed to bring you more listings. That's how it works. Listings bring more listings, listings bring more buyers. Open houses, if you're just putting a sign out front, posting it online, hey, check me out, come visit me, I'm at my open house. No one's going to show up. And you might get one or two people. And if you're wondering why you're getting one or two people to show up, this is the reason why. Okay. You don't even have to do the open house. Honestly, you could cancel it if you wanted to. The open house is just the reason why you get, it's a reason for you to meet new people. And remember, your job as a real estate agent is your job is to be a social butterfly. Your job as a real estate agent is to meet new people. Your job as a real estate agent is to get out there in the community, get to know people, become the celebrity of the area. The one that becomes a celebrity of the area is the one that sells the most real estate. That's how it works. So you could be the squeaky wheel, you could not, and watch your business kind of go the other direction. And so I'm going to show you some very simple way with a whole week of work with only 8 hours, which if you do the math, that's anywhere from 1 to 2 hours a day that you're going to literally be able to talk to probably 80 to 100 people and potentially get 60 plus people in your database if you actually are not afraid to ask for the business. That's another important part is you got to ask for the business. You got to get a yes or no answer. If you're not getting a yes or no answer, then you're not asking for the business. But if you don't ask for the business, what are you losing? You're just losing an opportunity. You lost them anyway. You might as well ask the question. Okay. Before we get started, is there anything that anyone wants to talk about or needs a little feedback, a little push, a little coaching from? Does anyone need anything before we get going here?
No.
Nope. Everybody's good. All right. Let's get going because this could take 30 minutes, could take 45 minutes, just depends on how many questions start coming up as I start to jump into it. But this is a simple form. This is courtesy of Eisenhower Coaching and Consulting. Highly suggest that for one-on-one coaching. You know me, I do some one-on-one coaching, but really just for our brokerages, whoever needs it, someone needs to meet and talk and needs a little help, but it's free for the most part. I don't charge for the coaching unless someone wanted to get on some long-term coaching, then I would. But I try to stay away from it just because I don't want to be competition with other companies that I truly respect, like Eisenhower. I like that I have access to be able to use Brian's content, and I've always enjoyed working with Brian, and I've always enjoyed being a coach. So I have access to a lot of content that I got from Brian from coaching over the years, for about 7 years straight of one-on-one coaching. Coached people from the East Coast, Florida, all the way up in Canada. A few different coaching clients up in Canada that I coached for about 5 years. It's totally different in Canada. It's really fun. When they get one under contract, it's not called getting under contract. It's called firm up. They firmed up the deal. It's pretty interesting. It's a lot of fun. A little different way. And their escrows are long. You think yours are long with 45-day escrows? Theirs are 6 months. Yeah. So think about that. Their escrows are quite long. It's interesting. But anyway, this is some amazing content that I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to take this one form, and this is how simple it's going to be. Is each one of these items is a day of the week, okay? And each one of these items doesn't take you any longer than max 2 hours, but typically anywhere from 30 minutes to maybe an hour a day. That's it. And so if you think, first and foremost, if you think that an open house, hey, I got a new listing, I'm going to do an open house this weekend. Today's Friday, I'm going to do it tomorrow. If you think that's enough time, it's not enough time. You're going to be lucky to get one or two people to come in. You need to spend a whole week of marketing. And remember, the reason for marketing your open house isn't to particularly pick up a buyer and seller in your open house. It's to talk to someone else. This is a contact sport. It's to give you a reason to call somebody, to give you a reason to go door knock on a door, to pick up another listing. If you have a buyer in a neighborhood that and you can't find a house for them, what are you going to do? Just sit on your hands and wait for one to pop on the market? That's lazy. We can't be a lazy agent and be a successful agent. You can't. There's no way. If you are, it's a fail right now. You're just already failing. You need to be successful, which means you need to get into the communities, get to know people, meet more people. The more you are like that, the more you're going to do, the more business you'll do. The faster you grow depends on how much you're willing to put into it. Later on, once that wheel starts turning, I always say it's like a wheel stuck in the mud. Eventually, it's going to break loose from the mud and you're going to take off like a rocket and you're going to do really well, right? Eventually. But in the beginning, it's stuck in the mud and it's just spinning, spinning, spinning. And that's you doing the grind work so that later on, which could be 6 months later, if you're a brand new agent, it could be 6 months later, it could be a year later, it could be 2 years later. It depends on how much you put into it in the beginning. You front load the work, the hard work in the first 3 to 6 months and watch what happens the last 6 months of that year. It's crazy. Everything you do today is for 3 to 6 months from now, or let's just say 1 to 3 months from now. Everything you do today. That's how real estate works. It's not a get rich quick scheme, right? It's just not. It takes work. And so we put in work and we see a result. If we don't put in the work, like let's say an open house, you're not going to see the result. You're going to have boring open houses. No one's going to show up. You might get one or two drive-bys. And if you wonder why you got no one showing up, it's because that's not how open houses were ever created to be done. It takes a week long of marketing to different people, different realms of people, different vendors, different, SOI, for sale by owners, expires. We're marketing all these different people to get them to show up. What's the easiest way to pick up a for sale by owner as a client? By calling them and saying, hey, um, I'm just
Mhm.
curious when you're going to hire a realtor. I'd like to interview for the job. Hey, that's a good script. Hey, I'd like to interview the job. What are they going to do? Click, because they've heard it from a million other realtors. But what if you did this? Or you just door knocked it, better yet, door knock it and say, hey, I'm doing an open house up the street at Jan and Jeff's property, and I just wanted to give you an invite so you can see what other properties are for sale in the neighborhood. Can you come? Will you come? And remember, that's the important. Will you ask the question? Will you come? You need to get a yes or no response. What are you going to lose by asking that and getting nothing? They're either going to say no or they're going to say yes. But if you didn't ask, you won't know. But very rarely are they just going to say no. They'll probably say, yeah, be curious to see I mean, I'm trying to sell my house. Let me see what the competition is. And that's how you need to word it. Let me show you what the competition is in the area. That way, then they're going to come in there, they're going to meet you, they're going to get to know you. Next thing you know it, you're going to talk to them again, tell them how much feedback, you're going to call them, get their phone number. You should have it because it's probably on Zillow, and you're going to ask them, like, this is what happened in the house. This is how many showings I got at that open house this weekend. Yeah, if you want, I'll do another one. If you want to do one at the same time, I can send some people your way. You send some people my way. How about that? Let's work together. Now you're working with the open house or with the for sale by owner. Next thing you know it, they're like, hey, what would you charge just to go ahead and do all this? I mean, you do a lot of marketing. Your job is right here on a for sale by owner. You're invited to test my systems and see what's going on in the market. That's your job, is you're inviting them to test your systems. You're inviting them to see how you work, to see your quality of work. Are you a lazy agent or are you a hardworking agent? You want to show people your hardworking agent so that way they see your quality of work, how hard of a worker you are, how much you put into it. That's the goal. All right, so let's start from the top. Okay, let's just say that this is Monday. Okay, what am I going to do on Monday? My open house is on Saturday. Okay, or Sunday, doesn't matter, it could be either one. I'm going to circle prospect 1 mile around the open house. How do you circle prospect? There's two, maybe three ways to do it. Now, one of them, three ways, would be sending out mailers. Not going to work, right? Now, if you've got an open house in 2 weeks you're scheduling, the more time you have to prepare for that open house, the more marketing you can do. to get more out there. Now I can spend a little money. I can send some mailers. I can show you different softwares to do this. One, I like to use Stuart Title's Forever Farms. I also like to use RedX, which is Vortex, that allows you to get address and phone numbers and email addresses for a certain area. So I could circle prospect around. I can pull those addresses, put them into a spreadsheet, and upload them into a software like Click to Mail. That's one software that I can send out mass mailers, and it'll automatically plug in the names and put them where they belong in the boxes and say, "Hello, Joe, homeowner. Hey, I'm doing an open house this next weekend. Just want to invite you to come check it out. It's in your neighborhood. It's around the corner." So if you had 2 weeks to schedule and you can send mailers out, that's one way to do it, to circle prospect a mile around. Number two is you pull those email addresses from RedX, and then you can turn around and send them an email invite. That's number two. Number three, the best, absolute best way to do it is to get out on your, put those workout shoes on and walk that neighborhood. Absolute best way to do it. You got nothing to lose. And if you do that, I got a script for you, and it's like this. And it says this: Hey, I'm Sean Cardoza with Cardoza Larson Real Estate Group. We have your neighbor's home. Did you get that? We have your neighbor's home, 1235 main address up the street for sale, and we're holding a quote special open house this Saturday from 11 to 3. It's special, okay? It's special, and we're inviting you. Since we know ultimately a purchaser of a home is often a friend, family member, acquaintance of somebody that already lives in the neighborhood, typically that is a true statement. Usually someone lives in the neighborhood and they want to move to that neighborhood. There's something pulling them to that neighborhood. Either they're a brand new first time home buyer and they just don't know nothing, and maybe this is a new construction neighborhood, or they know somebody that lives in there and they like it. So a lot of times it could be a family member. My kid's looking for a place right now close to me. So it happens. Often that's what it is. So since we know that ultimately a purchaser of a home is often a friend, family member, acquaintance, someone that already lives in the neighborhood, we're inviting the entire neighborhood to come take a look. If you know someone, and by the way, you memorize this script. You're not going to read it because you're talking to them face to face in front of their door. So if you happen to know anyone or meet someone looking in the community, this is a great way to handpick your neighbors, right? Good script. Here's the important part that most realtors fail. I will say 99.9% of realtors fail is they don't ask the question, will you come? Yes or no? I need to know. Yes or no answer. Do you think you could swing by and check it out? You want to hear them say, and now you're face to face with them. I mean, you're getting to know them. A lot of times, this actually opens up conversations to where you can say, also, I don't know if you've thought about selling your place or curious how much money you've made on it so far. We will do an annual property analysis, usually for people that own a house, just so they know how much money they've made on it so far. You don't realize, but it's an investment, and maybe it's an investment. It's going to make money each year. It typically goes up 4 to 10%. It's been a little difficult with the interest rate, so it hasn't gone up as high as normal. But if you're curious how much money you've made on it so far, I can run some values for you, tell you how much you've made so far, just in case you need to pull an equity line of credit out, or you need something, or if you decide you want to sell, you'll know about what it's worth. I can do that for you. How does that sound? That's a step further, not in the script, but it's a way that I would do it. Kind of allow you to now value that property. Remember, the goal is not particularly to get these buyers to come into the house. If that's the goal, you failed already. Because remember, an important part, guys, listings bring more listings. Okay. They also bring more buyers. That's a repercussion of it, is it also brings more buyer, but they bring more listings if you do it right. And you take that one listing, market around it, circle prospect around it, and pick up more listings. So if I ask that questions, I'm now valuing their property for them. And now I have the opportunity to possibly get a listing. Okay. I'm going to get a listing out of it now, potentially. If I do my job, my fortune's in the follow up, and I get in there and follow up with them, check with them, keep in contact with them. Now I'm going to get their email address and their phone number, and I'm going to send them their annual property analysis and possibly list this property in the future. If not theirs, they call it a referral database system. So this person gets added to your referral database system, also known as a CRM, and you're nurturing them. And next thing you know, they're going to refer you to a family friend because you've been so good to them. and you've taken such good care with them, and all you did was start with a door knocking because you had an open house in the area, that they're going to send you to someone and refer you to someone, right? So that's a little added extra. You want to wait for the response. You want a yes or no answer from that. So I'm waiting for the response. Do you think you can swing by? Can you make it to the open house? If they say yes, this is what you say. Great. Since we're doing everything we can to get your neighbors home, Jeff and Jan's property up the street, I promise this seller, if it's not your listing, you don't say my seller, you say we promise these sellers. And remember, you have a co-op. Okay, so this could be some other brokerage's listing that you're doing an open house on. You know, you can do that, right? I put one on the market a while back in Boise, and I had Keller Williams, Amherst Madison agents call me asking to do open houses on mine because they're smart. And it was a good area by Boise State. And they really, really wanted to do an open house because they knew they can get a lot of traffic in there. And they did. They didn't do the open house like this, though. They didn't market it enough, and they still got a lot of traffic. But then the question is we're working to get that property sold because we have a co-op through our association of realtors that says we co-op together to get a property sold. So you can say that. Since we do everything we can to get your neighbor's home sold, I promise the seller that we promise the seller will do this. Do you know of anyone looking to buy sell in the area? The goal is to find out, do you know of anyone in the area that's thought about it? They know their neighbors typically. And then if they say no, that they're not going to make it to your open house, guess what? It's a totally different script. I'm just kidding. It's the same script. Totally understand. And since we're doing everything we can to get this property sold, we promise the seller that we're going to ask everyone, do you know of anyone that might want to sell in the future? Pretty much the same script. Okay. That's your circle prospecting script. Guess what? You're going to use that script for this entire process. The entire process. You might change it up a little bit, but it's the same script. Okay. Let's move on to the next. All right, so that was circle prospecting. Guess what? We're doing this a mile away from the house. So this is going to take you probably a good hour. If you have a lot of good conversations, it might take a little longer, but we've only got 1 hour invested into this open house so far. And guess what? We use the script. And if you do the annual property analysis, let's just say you ended up getting 10 people that gave you their contact information and you're valuing their houses now. So you got 10 new contacts added to your database, but you probably talked to and gave invites. I mean, you might hit 100 homes there. You might have talked to 20 people. So you had 20 contacts, guys, and 20 potential people that might show up. You might get three or four. Who cares? That's three or four more than you would have had show up to your open house than before. And you say you picked up 10 people that said, yeah, I'd love to know how much my house is worth. Sure, yeah, that'd be great. It's free? Yeah, free. We call it a free annual property analysis. We just tell you how much you made on your house so far. That's it. Make the script easy. Don't make it hard. All right. And so now let's say I talked to 10 people. It took me an hour to do that. You're inviting them to see what's going on in the market. You're visiting the home, invite them to your open house. You tell them about the plans, any plan, you find out about any plans they might have to move, and you're inviting them to join your SOI, your sphere of influence. Learn about the market. Okay. Now we're going to hit the neighbors' same street. So we didn't hit that on day one. We saved that for a totally different day because it's an important, because these people actually know Jan and Jeff. Okay. They actually know the people selling this house. But it's the same thing. You're inviting them to see what's going on in the market, your level. This is all the same too. Okay. You're inviting them to get to know you, the celebrity of the area, the one that's not afraid to get into neighborhoods and get to know people, the one that really wants to sell real estate, that's not lazy. You're actually getting into the communities, you're getting to know people, you're meeting new people, you're realizing real estate sales is a contact sport and you're contacting more and more people. Okay. All right. So that's day two. So you're going to hit the street. So I would say save maybe the main street that the house is on and two streets over. Okay. So you're probably going to hit 25 homes, maybe 30 homes. Okay. And out of those 30, you use that same script. Okay. Right here. I suggest adding in there the annual property analysis option where you're offering up to show them how much they've made on their house so far. It's just a simple valuation. We actually, as a Realtree annual property analysis, is that we go over the entire nation of what's going on. We go over the state on what's going on. We go over the cities, and then we break it down to the neighborhood. So it's a four-level annual property analysis. And if you want a copy of one, I have a Canva one where you can just plug in your information, your picture, all that. And but you do have to kind of you do have to do a little bit of work on it, make it unique, break it down for the individual person that you're doing, and it's a packet that you're going to literally drop off at their house and leave them. Hopefully, it's a face-to-face appointment you have to sit there at a countertop, suggest a kitchen countertop in their house, valuing the home with them. And you're going over it just
I'm
like,
interested in that.
okay, afterwards, send me an email and then I'll send it to you. Okay? Send it to me in the end. And then I'll just reply right back to the email, Lilia, and I'll send that to you. Perfect. And so then that actually hopefully will get you in almost like a full-on listing appointment. You're going to sit at their countertop and value this house with them. Okay, that's the goal. The more those you do, the more listings you're going to be picking up. But if you do that on the neighborhood, now the three streets on day two, which is now Tuesday, this is probably only going to take you maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour. So now you're 2 hours into it so far. Okay. And say you end up picking up five more houses. Out of 30 houses, you pick up five more property valuations. So now you've talked to 15 people, maybe pushing close to 20 in only 2 hours of work. And you're valuing 15, maybe close to 20 houses for people. Okay. You're going to be busy. I mean, this open house is going to bring you a lot of opportunities. But then you actually maybe talk to maybe 15, 20 people in that neighborhood, invited them to your open house. So now you've invited roughly 30 to 40 people with only 2 hours of work to your open house. And you asked them the question, do you think you can swing by? And you got a commitment of yes or no. If they say yes, here's another little added thing you can do. You can say, if they say yes, say great. Let me do this. I'm gonna text you my number so you have it. What's your number? Then you pull out your cell phone and you say, okay, so I'm just texting you my number. If you hear of anyone else that wants to join or wants to see it like privately, just give them my number. You just got their phone number, okay? Because I text them my number. See how these little things work to help you get more? All right. We're going to jump down here now. So I'm going to add expired listings and for sale by owners together. This is one day, okay? Because you're going to search and it might need to go a little farther than a mile, but you're going to go out, let's just say a couple miles and look on Zillow for any for sale by owners that are going on. You're going to get in the MLS and look for anything that's expired in the last, say, week, and you might have to stretch that out to 2 weeks or maybe even a month. And you're going to find the goal is to find somewhere around 20 to 30 because you need to spend an hour a day. I'm only asking you to work for an hour a day, guys. You need to spend an hour a day going over it, and I suggest door knocking them and using this same script. We're not doing anything crazy here. The same script, inviting them to the open house. Now, for the expireds, you're going to want to say, I know you had your property on the market at some point in time, so just in case you're interested in what the neighborhood's selling for, I've got this one on the market. We're going to do an open house this Saturday. Will you come check it out? Just curious. Will you swing by and check it out? It's a special open house we're doing for, this couple over here, Jan and Jeff, or whatever their names are. Will you come? So it's the same script. It's not intrusive like, hey, I saw your property expired. You're curious if you're going to be interviewing more agents. Again, that's a great script, but you're not doing it because that's what everyone's doing. Instead, you're inviting them to come see what's going on in the market. That's the goal. You're inviting them to test your systems, your services, and see what's on the market. That's the goal. So I got a reason to call an expired now, or better yet, door knock an expired. Get out of the house, get out of the office, go door knock and talk to some people. Get uncomfortable. The more you're uncomfortable, the more you're going to get comfortable. So get uncomfortable, get out there and talk to these people. Okay. So we're going to add those two together. As you can see, it's pretty much the same reasoning. The call to action is the same. And we're going to use the same script, just change it up for sale by owners or expireds. But really, you're not changing up much, and you're still asking the same questions. Will you swing by? And do you know of anyone that might want to buy, sell, or invest in the area? Okay, and this will open questions to, well, mine didn't sell. I'm just curious. That one seems to be priced a little bit lower. Is that what the market's selling for? Well, let me do some valuing for you, and I'll tell you because you might have something a little different. If you want to let me walk through it real quick, I can kind of take a look at what upgrades you've done. Maybe you can show me what upgrades you've done, and then I can do some valuing for you and tell you, why maybe it didn't sell. That's going to open up opportunities for you to walk these expired listings. but your approach has to be different. Your approach has to be the invite to the open house. That's your segue to get into those conversations with those for sale by owners and expireds. It's so much easier than making the hard phone calls. And I'm telling you, you're going to pass up all those agents that are making those hard phone calls by doing it this way. You're going to get a relationship with them faster than all those agents because you're actually bringing them something. You're inviting them to a dang open house. How intrusive is that? Not at all. All right, so that is on Wednesday, and that might take you an hour. So now you've worked 3 hours this week. You're going to potentially, possibly value, I don't know, let's just say 10 or 15 more open houses for sale by owners. Um, I'm sorry, for sale by owners and expired. You're gonna possibly value maybe 5 to 10 more properties. So now you're adding more people to your database because you're getting their contact info. You're probably up to 10, 20, 30, 40. You're up to about 40 potential people added to your database now with only 3 hours of work. That's it. Okay. I would say the circle prospecting around might take you a little longer than an hour, depending on how many good conversations you have. Now, guess what? You don't have to get out of the house anymore. You did it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We call that front loading your schedule. Okay. You front load the schedule, get the hard stuff done first. So that was the hard stuff. Okay. Which really wasn't hard at all. I made it easy for you. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was your hard 3 hours, maybe 4 hours max. And you got like 40 people added to your database. Now is the easy stuff. You can do the rest of this from your office. Okay. SOI. So now I'm going to call. Sorry. Stop that. So now I'm going to call my sphere of influence, my SOI, and I'm going to use pretty much the same script. You're inviting them to test your systems, services, and see what's on the market. You want them to come visit the home, tell them, find out about their plans to move. These are people you know that own a house or may not own a house. This is anyone that you can find in your cell phone. Let me ask you to do this real quick. If you have an iPhone, it might be different with an Android. I want you to go to your contacts right now if you can. Do this with me. Go to your contacts, okay? Scroll all the way down to the bottom of your contacts, okay? And read me. You don't have to read me. Just know the number at the bottom of how many people in your contacts. Mine says 5,298. Been a realtor for almost 20 years, okay? 5,298 people are in there. That's potentially how many people I can call. I'm not going to call that many people. So I'm going to use a system like the A&W or E&O or the two-letter follow-up plan system, and I'm going to choose the most prominent uh, SOI members to call because I'm only going to spend an hour, maybe 2 hours if I'm really having good conversations. I'm going to use this same script. I'm doing an open house on 1235 fake address, brother Joe, whoever you're calling your SOI. Just wanted to see, will you come visit me? Come check it out. If you can't get your own brother or sister to show up, we got problems. But and then have them bring who they know from church, from work. Who do they know that might be looking to buy? Bring some people. And now they're going to be bringing some people to the open house. And then, by the way, if you want an annual property analysis, or if you know of anyone that might be curious how much money they've made on their house so far, I'm going to be working on that this week too. And now I'm valuing more houses. I'm telling you, I value anywhere from 1 to 5 houses a day. That's me personally. That's what I do right now as we speak. I do that. 1 to 5 houses a day, minimum one. It's because I'm doing a lot of annual property analysis and valuing properties for investors, for my own flips, just SOI, constantly valuing properties. You should be too. This is a way to get you valuing a lot of properties a day and working for positive future business every day is this type of stuff. So you're going to be calling your SOI and you're going to be offering up annual property analysis. You want to ask them if they'll show up to your open house. You want to get more people in there. You're going to probably end up valuing anywhere from 5 plus minus houses if you contact, say, maybe 40 SOI members. Okay. It might take you an hour. If you do more, if you try to hit 100, that's fun. Have you ever tried to do that? Have you ever tried to make 100 contacts in a day? I've done it twice in my life, and I valued a ton of properties when I did it. Like big goals like that to try to make this job a little more interesting is say today I'm going to try to contact 100 people and I'm going to offer up annual property analysis. I'm going to offer up the value of their home, tell them, see how much they made on their house so far. It's fun to do, but you can't do it all the time. It's a lot of work. I've done it twice. Okay. And it was through Bold. I did it through Bold. That's a Keller Williams thing that I did years ago. They used to do that a lot, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work, but it was fun. So anyway, so that's something you can do to try to do that invite. Just however many you can choose that you want to make a goal to contact that day of your SOI and give an invite to your open house and offer up annual property analysis. So that's on Thursday. On Friday, you're gonna go after any nurtures you had. Now, I've shown you guys this before, if you can see it. This is my number one most important people that I am going to sell a house to. Okay. If you have a whiteboard like that that you use for your most important leads that you're working on right now, that's these people, your current nurtures. These could be leads, these could be team leads you've gotten. These could be nurture leads you've been working on from an old open house. It doesn't matter. They just need an invite. And so this should be a big number. This should be a number of somewhere around 20 to 30 people. It's going to take you about another hour. You might end up valuing another 3 to 5 more houses for annual property analysis. You might be inviting another, 20 to 30 people to your open house invites. Goals aren't much different. Okay. Tell me about your plans to move. Market, learn about the market, see what's going on. You're giving them an update in the market. These are people that you needed to talk to that you just haven't had a reason to call them, but you know you should be calling them. Okay. And now you've got, shoot, you're up to about almost 60 people and you've only worked for like 4 hours so far, maybe 5 hours in an entire week. And you've talked to 60 plus people, probably pushing 70 by now, and you've got about maybe 20 to 30 houses you need to value if you've actually asked those questions about annual property analysis. Now, guess what? Vendors. These people typically get left out. These are your home inspectors, contractors, plumbers. It's a vendor list. It could be attorneys. It could be divorce attorneys. I always have a couple that I have on standby. I just had another consultation with a divorce attorney about 2 weeks ago that does a lot of probates. And I said, I want to be in your vendor list. He said, you're done. You're in my vendor list. Awesome. So I'm on his vendor list. So if he has anyone that they need a realtor, need to be added, they usually have to add 3 to their court for their probates or their divorces, or they'll usually have to add 3 lenders or realtors. I'm now in that list with this attorney. So he's a good one to call and invite to this open house, or any of his clients that he knows that are looking for some homes, invite them over. Attorneys, plumbers, contractors, handymen, um, what else? Insurance agents, escrow officers, lenders. They all need a phone call. Okay. This is going to take you another maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and you're going to invite as many vendors as you can into the open house. Not muted, guys. Come on, come on, come on. Goodness. Got to mute yourself if you're going to be talking in the background. Okay. So you're going to be inviting those people in there. Okay. So get them in there. That's a great way to get that business to business. We call it B2B, business to business relationship. Okay. Got to get those vendors invited to this open house. All right. So let's talk about this for a second. Okay. So you have now worked roughly 8, maybe 9 hours. I doubt it if you broke 9 hours. You're probably about 8 hours, and you've talked to roughly 60 plus people, right? And you've got probably 20 or 30 homes you need to value. Do I even need to do the open house? No. I had talked to enough people this week that I have a lot of work to do, right? So that was the excuse, but you do need to do the open house. It's the right thing to do. You're not done, okay? Because Saturday morning is a very important morning. You got an open house in a couple hours. You need to now, all these people should be in your CRM if you did it right. If you're using your referral database system the way it's supposed to be doing, you have them all in there. You have them all tagged as open house on 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, on the 12th. I think that's July 12th this week. So I got July 12th open house. They're all tagged. So I can get in there and quickly find them, segregate them out from the rest of the people. Really, you don't have to do that though. You can actually send this as a mass message out to your entire database on Saturday morning. But preferably, you want to make sure you get it to those people that you've given invite to, that you're valuing their homes, all those people. And you need to send out a reminder Saturday morning to everyone in your database that you have an open house today. Please come. It's at 11 o'clock on this address. We've had 30 to 40 people just flood an open house to the point that we had so many RSVPs doing stuff like this that we had to set up a table outside because of people's personal property and we had to have a whole team of realtors lined up to take one person in at a time. So we had about 8 or 9 realtors lined up at the table up front, ready to walk people through this open house. This is real estate. This is what it takes to sell at a high level. Don't be playing games with open houses that like everyone else does. Don't you want to be different? Don't you want to do it the right way? Don't you want to drive a mass number of people into your database, into your open house? It's not hard. What's hard is choosing to be a top producer, choosing to think like a top producer, think like a CEO, think like a business owner, do things for purpose, for a reason. Don't do it, I hate to say it, half you know what, you don't do it. It's wasting your time. You might as well go work for someone else because then they're going to put you to work doing stuff like this because they know it needs to be done. But you can do it for yourself. You can be that top producing agent and actually run a business the way it should be ran with structure, with a daily plan of work. I just gave you an easy way to use an open house as a reason, and I gave you the script.